Hello, guys. You're welcome to the Chit Chat Show on Untitled TV and Radio. My name is Idafi Matthew Esiogene. I feel lovely to be on your screen once again, and you love to come in the Untitled One of Sports. Now, it is amazing. I have, as promised, I have a wonderful player that has represented Nigeria at different level and is a lover of football. Started his playing career for a team called FC Hearts Academy in Kano. Back in 2012, he's a very, very strong fan of Kano Pillars. But unfortunately, the club he always wanted to play for took him for granted. And then he went to Wiki Tories, played for Wiki Tories just a few games. But one of the most important games he played for Wiki Tories was his debut for Wiki Tories, where he came off the bench and helped to destroy Kano Pillars. Yes, that was in 2016, where he made his debut in June of 2016. And it destroyed Kano Pillars in that game that ended 3-1. Now, if you think that is just the end of the conversation, once again, he was the one who provided the assist for Christian Piagbara as they beat Kano Pillars again. Aqua United this time beat Kano Pillars in 2016-2017 season, May actually of 2017 in Kano. If this boy is not evil, I don't know what to call him. But then it's going to come and explain all of that for us and tell us why he was always tormenting his own village people. Now, he's also left the shores of Nigeria, and first port of call was in Austria, where he played for Austria Vienna on loan, and he went on a rescue mission. I think some guys saw what he did for Wiki Tories and Aqua United, and they believed that this is the kind of guy that can rescue them from relegation. Then he went to City Nacional in Portugal, the very village, the place where Cristiano Ronaldo is from, Madeira, the city of Madeira. He went there and he's just helped City Nacional to gain promotion. Scored one goal in the last 28 games that he's played. Yeah, coronavirus or no coronavirus, he's helped them to gain promotion. Who am I talking about? My guest on the Chit Chat Show today is the one, the only. They call him the Kano Maradona, the Kano Pele. Whatever you want to call him, he is a runner, a dribbler, a goal creator par excellence. Please make welcome Alhassan Ibrahim, a.k.a. Muazzam. Muazzam, you're welcome to the Chit Chat Show.
Thank you. How are you, bro?
I'm fine. I feel good. So let's start your journey from you destroying Kano Pillars on 2 occasions. What's the story behind it? Is there like hatred for Kano Pillars? Is there like anger for Kano Pillars? What's the story?
No, it's not hatred, it's not anger. It's just me that trying to do my job, you know. I've been playing I'm signed for Wiki Tories. You know, all the boys in Kano, footballers, our dream is to play for this club. Kano Pillars. But my dream is beyond that. I want to, so, and I know definitely anywhere I can find career, I can just go there. And I get an opportunity to go to Wiki Tories, you know. And I don't know whether maybe Kano Pillars, they don't know, they were not aware I was there until maybe the very day of the game, because that was my debut game. Yeah. I didn't play. I signed for first 3 weeks and I didn't play any game. And I was training really good, but the coach decided to just reserve me maybe for the game. And that was what happened. I came in as a substitute.
The amazing thing is that the coach...
And I scored, we were losing.
Yeah, you were losing 1-0. The coach is also...
Yeah, we were losing 2-0 and I came in.
Okay, yeah.
Equalized. I mean 1-0. I equalized and I get the third goal again. Yeah, the game was 3-1. We were losing 1-0. Then I came in and I scored the equalizing goal. I can remember one of my teammates scored the second goal. Then I scored the third goal again, making it 3-1.
Okay, now, the coach, your coach then, Makaiba, right?
Yeah.
Adbullahi Makaiba is also from Kano.
Yeah.
So he picked this Kano.
Yeah, he is.
Kept you in secret. You didn't play the first game. You didn't play the first game at home. Your team went away for the second game. You didn't play. And match Kano Pillars were coming to town. Let's be honest.
Yeah, actually, he did it on purpose. It wasn't my plan. It was his plan, actually. Because when I signed first game, you cannot just throw the player in. So maybe he has to stay on the bench or something. But he didn't even select me in the 18. The team play at home. I was in the stand and I was going away because I was doing really good in training. Everyone was surprised when I didn't make the team the second time, going to, I think, MFM or something, traveling away. Then he told me to just come down. He put me in the right time. It wasn't my plans. That was his plan, I think. Then we come against Kano Pillars, and he, all the week, I am like on the Scots game plan. I am starting in the 11. Then he put me, he changed me. He put me, he changed me. I'm like, okay. In the training, so then he came to me in the match day in the morning, around 10 something after breakfast, and he said to me, "You are not starting. You are coming, and you will win the game for us." I said, "Okay," and I was on the bench. We were losing 1-0, and when I was on the warm up, and then everyone was like shouting. The Kano Pillars fans are there in the stadium because it's not really far journey from Kano to Bauchi, so there is a lot of Kano Pillars fans, and they were shocked when they saw me from the warm up. They are like, "When did you come here?" You know, they're asking me. I'm like just laughing at them, and I went in and I did my job.
Was there ever a time, did you ever go to do screening, trials with Kano Pillars?
No, I never do that. The problem is that you just can't go to the screening to Kano Pillars, I think, if you are a Kano boy. A lot can do it, but the problem is now they have the good platform of getting young players to the team because they have junior Kano Pillars now. But the time I was in Kano, they don't have that. And if you are from Kano, they know you, the way you grow your football from grassroots. So I cannot say they really give that opportunity for you to, even if you come, you are even afraid because they will like, what are you here for? You know, but some guys from other states that they don't know at all can come to Kano Pillars and have screening. But you as a Kano boy, you don't even have the guts, you know, because you definitely know they will not even look at you, you know. They'll be like, he cannot play for Pillars. Because that's the biggest club in the country. I also prepare to go outside, make my name, then come back to the States as well established, you know. So that was what I did, because I think it's difficult to just take your shoes and go to the Kano Pillars ground that I just come for screening, you know.
Okay, I understand that. Now, so within a short while, you left, your coach left, Abdul Makaiba left Wiki Tourist to Aqua United, and the first player he signed with you took you again to Aqua United. Now, there are so many talks. People always talk about, oh, Nigerian League, they don't pay the players well. They don't give them money. Did they pay you well when you play for Wiki Tourist and Aqua United? I mean, let's be very honest.
Let me be very honest with you. Not all the clubs pay really well, but from the experience I had, I can say, and Wiki Tourist, when I first joined in January, there was, I think, some issue with the salary. The players didn't get their salary for the first 2 months or so. But it depends on the state, because unfortunately, all the clubs in Nigeria, maybe excluding FCE, Ifeanyi Uba or something, all belongs to state government. So it depends on how much the state and they pay the players the same. Like Kano Pillars, they really pay well. They pay big money. Aqua United, they pay big money. But Wiki Tourist, as at then, I don't know how much is the highest paying salary, but I wasn't part of it. I was earning, I think, 250,000 naira and per month, and that money I have to pay tax, some percentage of tax. I think 13,000 or 15, if I can remember. So going to Aqua United, that is okay, I think, for footballers to start. Some earn 150 also, and going to Aqua United, I earn even double than what I was earning in
How much did they pay you at Aqua United?
So I was earning in Aqua United when I first joined 400,000. that was the least salary because the club chairman didn't know me. When I came, he just think maybe it's the favor of the coach or something that brought this player. Because in Nigeria league is very difficult.
Yeah.
The games are not on TV. If you are not playing against this club, nobody knows. I didn't play against Aqua United, so they don't even know me. I just play for how many games then? 14, 15 games in Nigeria league. So they want to go for the big name like Christian Piagbara, Ifeanyi, those ones that made their names in the national and in the league, and they are earning bigger salary. That time in Aqua United, they are one of the highest earning players. So when I joined Aqua United, I was earning 400 is the least salary in Aqua United, compared to 150 is the least salary in Wiki. So you can see the differences here. So in Aqua United, I was earning that salary, and when I was negotiating, the chairman was like, because Iyimba contacted me, I play with Iyimba, and they are willing to pay more. Because of Coach Mekaba, I joined Aqua United, and I said to the chairman, some clubs are willing to pay me more than what you are offering. But he said, okay, you play the football, do the talking. When you play really good, you don't need to come here and do it. I will top up your salary. And I said, okay. Before half season, I was the club high goal scorer, play really good. And he top up 200,000 on top. Then I become, I was earning then 600,000 at the time.
Okay, so you know why I brought up this conversation. Sometimes you're in a WhatsApp group or you're talking to some people and they say, Nigerian league, they don't pay them money, 50,000 at the end. So it's good that we have put this to bed. Thank you very much for that part. Now, let's go to your career.
Oh, sorry, the network is bad.
Oh,
okay,
sorry.
I can hear you now. The network was bad, so yeah, but I can hear you now. What did you just say?
Okay, so I said I brought that up because, one, you're no longer in the Nigerian league, so it's a good time to talk about it. But a lot of people make you feel like Nigerian league, they don't pay people salary at all. There's no money in the league. Everybody is poor and all that. Now, it's good that you clear that part.
No.
Because I also know that Rabiu Ali...
No, there's some clubs... Yeah.
I also know that Rabiu Ali in Kano Pillars and
the king of
850,000 naira a month. But that's a conversation for another day. I will get Rabiu Ali into the show one day. Now let's take your journey.
Yeah, definitely. We'll hear more. Okay.
Yeah, let's take your journey. You played for Wiki Torisho, first league club in Nigeria. You didn't play up to 20.
Yeah.
You didn't finish one season. You moved to Aqua United. Just when you were, becoming like the top man in Aqua United, you moved from Aqua United to Europe. Come, who is responsible for doing? Who did your magic? Who did all these things? How did it happen?
I can say, just have to work, and if you have right people behind you, everything can fall into place. Me playing from Aqua United, just doing my job, so I don't know other people are there waiting. I have to give credit to Melvin Challobah. He introduced me to his agency. He working with Base Soccer, and at that time, there was a Nigerian playing in Austria called Olaru Ajukayo. They call him Larry.
Yeah.
A lot of Nigerians know him.
He
play for the national team. Yeah. So Base Soccer brokered a deal for him to move to Man City. So, and in his place, like Austria, looking for his replacement, and Melvin introduced me, and that's how when I get the opportunity to go from Aqua United to Austria. I didn't go there on trials. I just went there and I met Melvin was there in airport, although Austria have sent someone to pick me up in airport, but Melvin flew from England direct to Austria in Vienna, and he waited for me in airport. They pick us up to the hotel. The next day, I had my medicals, and I signed 1 year loan with the option of 4 years at the end. So it's really, really, I have to give credit to him because he really see to it. He worked hard. I was in Nigeria. He was there doing my videos. He has to call someone from in Nigeria, get all our games in Aqua United, do a video for me, all the goals, all the action and everything. And he used that to introduce me to his contact in Europe. And
Okay,
that was
so
how it started.
so Melvin
Yeah.
Challobah, who is the uncle to Nathaniel Challobah that played for
Yeah.
Chelsea, made
Watford.
all this happen. Now
Yeah.
there's this thing they say
Yeah.
about footballers. Uh, if you have a good team around you, uh, everything will be fine. Do you think that
Yeah.
Melvin being around you is the reason why everything has been okay with you like this?
Yeah, honestly speaking, yes, I can say yes, because if you have to build that relationship between you and your manager, not only like a family relationship, that a lot of things that you can be free to talk to your agent, not only about football, someone that has experience in life more than you are. He come through, he has the privilege to see his nephew, Challobah, Nat, grow. So a lot of things that he sees from Nat, he can advise me good and the bad things of it, he's just like a guardian to me, not only a manager. So when you have that relationship with your manager, I think everything will be okay, because you can be free to speak to him and he can come to you. You can go to him with anything you want. You guys sit together and talk and get possible advice that you need to, not only in football. So he's always there for me. He's doing his job, and he only want to make sure that I am okay mentally, physically, and good to go. When I go onto the pitch, I do what I know how to do best. That's all.
Okay, there is this thing that we always talk about Nigerian players, that when Nigerian players go to Europe, they lose focus, they cannot adjust quick to the environment, they cannot adapt to the culture, the food, the education, the
Yeah.
language. How were you able, who helped you to settle into that environment easily? Because I also heard that when you went to Austria, you had a few little problems here and there. How did you overcome those problems and settle in very well?
Yeah, when I went to Austria, I had a teammate called Kadiri. He was there for a year before I joined Austria.
What's
And
his
he
name?
also had a privilege. Kadiri, Mohammed Kadiri is Ghanaian, I think. He's a Ghanaian, he's from Ghana.
Okay.
So he also had privilege to meet Larry. Larry guided him through on the pitch, how to deal with the teammate, how the people of the country think, the fans of the club, have to know all this, Off
Yeah.
the pitch, he's a different person with me. So on the pitch, I just need his advice on, he know the people, he know the teammates, he knows the fans more than I am. So he helped a lot and might, but other things like chore, food, oh, that's one of the reasons why a lot of African or Nigerian players don't succeed abroad, because you have to deal with the culture. The food is totally different. The language, that's one big part of it. If you meet a coach that don't speak English, you just have to be smart. Sometimes they are giving it. You don't have to be just want to go and I want to do it. Like if you want to do it, you go in front. You can make mistake, and that can take your confidence away, because when
Yeah.
you don't understand the program is a problem. And some of the coaches, they don't speak English. Even if they speak, they don't have time to explain to the group and explain to you. So you have to be smart. The food definitely is totally different from African food. So totally different. You have to try and adapt. Maybe if you cannot cook by yourself, that is where the problem is. The distance from where I was living in Austria to where I can get African food, you can't afford to go there every day, every meal you have to. I cook at home. I try to adjust to what I can eat. If I'm with the group, like if we go for a game in the hotel, so you have to look what you can eat. It's really, really one of the reasons why Nigerian players really
Struggle.
fell abroad. Yeah, a
Okay.
lot of this thing. You have to be strong. You have to.
Good. Now, so something happened. You now moved from Austria and you went to Portugal. Can we get to understand what happened? How did you move from Austria? Because you were just settling in, you were beginning to settle in, and you moved to Austria. And it reminds me of your move from Wiki Tourist to Aqua. You were just trying to settle.
To Aqua.
Yeah, you were just trying to settle in Wiki, and then they move you again. A new state, a new language, new kinds of people.
Yeah.
But Aqua is fine. I heard that you love Aqua because
it's Nigeria.
They have good food and the environment is peaceful. So yeah, so yeah, talk to me about.
I love it. Really, I love it.
Talk to me about your move to Portugal.
Okay, so my loan expired at the end. I was playing all the games. Like I played 26 or more games in my season in Austria. I couldn't believe it when they didn't took the option of me sealing a permanent deal, because I was playing. I play Europa. I play all the games since I joined. I play really good. So along the way, we don't win games. They change coach, change system. Almost, I think, 13 players out of the team at the end of the season. And I was one of these players to leave because I had only 1 year loan, and the loan expired and they don't take the option. They want to maybe take a new, I don't know what they want to do, but they changed the team maybe completely, or more than 13 players were out. Among is that my friend I told you from Ghana, Abdul Muhammad, but we call him Kadiri. So that was what happened. And Melvin, we're trying to see the opportunities. We have some opportunities here and there. Then flew from England to Portugal. As a coach in a club that I first came, because I didn't came to Portugal for national. I came for a rival club called Maritimo in the same Madeira island.
Yeah.
So the coach spoke to Melvin. He wants me to come. I came. We go there as maybe I was coming for 2 weeks trial. That was the agreement. I flew from Nigeria. I met Melvin here, and we didn't train for 4 days. I always go to the stadium, excuses here and there. They don't want me to train because they are afraid whether Austria can demand a training compensation or something like that, which is not so. So we don't know, and they bring a contract, we sign, agree of everything, and I joined the club, start training. Within 2 weeks, then they don't want to honor the agreement with us, because in the contract also is in Portuguese. In Portuguese, we demand an English version of it, and they couldn't bring it. So we signed. After 2 weeks, we noticed inconsistency in the agreement and in the contract. They write within 1 month, that's 30 days. If they want, they can terminate the contract, which is in the law of Portugal League, which I don't know. My manager, Melvin, don't know about it. And if I don't want, as a player also, I can terminate the contract, and with or without the consent of the other party, So we were shocked why they put that in the contract and they didn't let us know,
Wow.
And they don't want to honor agreement. Opportunities are coming. We took the option and we terminated the contract. That's how I moved. Then I changed to national. Honestly, I wasn't coming to national when we decide to say, okay, we walk away from the contract or we terminate it. I'm going like Belgium or something. There is club in Belgium. Then this house national came within 24 hours or something, and we signed contract. Yeah, and everything fall in place, and I signed.
Okay, so since you signed for Nacional, have you played against Maritimo?
Yeah, I played in last year when we was in first division. I played, but I didn't start the game. I came in on the bench. We won 1-0 in our home. Then in their home, I was injured, so I didn't play.
Okay, so you guys got relegated, and now you guys are back in the top
Yeah,
division.
we are back and better.
Yeah. Now there's something that happened during this quarantine period. You were quarantined, you were there, you had beards, your beards had grown, you had not even got to shave your head. You were just, eating and training alone. And one day, you heard that Cristiano Ronaldo is in town.
Wow. Unbelievable.
And then he came to train at your training ground. Now, hey, Cristiano Ronaldo is no longer just a football player. But Cristiano Ronaldo, when he moves, the galaxy moves. The planets align.
It's a global superstar.
You understand? It's a global superstar. So, how was the reaction of the people of the city when they heard that Cristiano Ronaldo is in town? Explain that to me.
Unbelievable. Firstly, when I went to the clubhouse, we were training, I think, 4 in a group, 1-1, 4 in group, but 1-1 each. So I went out, dressed up, and I went out to the pitch. Then I saw one man there with 4 kids. 1 is a goalkeeper, 3 is just passing the ball and shooting left, right. He just chipped the ball, then you can catch and throw on the air for him, and he shoot volley left, right. No one was missing target. Wow. Then I was like, who is that old man with that technique, Then someone was looking at me like, what am I saying? He said, you don't know him? It's Cristiano Ronaldo. I'm like, wow. I said, I knew it. When I saw the technique, I definitely know this is not a small boy's technique. Left, right, he's shooting volley and he's just hitting the target, the ball going in. So everyone was there, not the like no fans, nobody, but the people of the club are there just to see him. And I went for my training, I was finished. When I go down to the locker room, he was massaging in the same bed I used to have massage with our club physiotherapist. They are giving him a massage and everything. Then I was like looking at him. Purposely, I don't have to be there. There was a bike there to cycle, some cycling. I finished my training, very, very hard training. I just have to take my bath and go home, shower and go home. But I was there for more than 30 minutes just looking at him doing some cycling, just to look at, is he real the one? He was. And when I got there, I just greeted him and he was all speaking to the guys there. And after I leave, and every day he used to go like every 3 days per week. He used to go there for training with his son and 2 other kids. Unfortunately, before that was a corona. That time is that pandemic is really, really difficult to snap picture with him or any other thing. You can't go close to anybody. You don't trust no one. So I couldn't get the opportunity to snap picture. And when a lot of my teammates has privilege to snap to take photo with him, but when I was like going to the clubhouse, he wasn't there, Sometimes I go in the afternoon and he went in the morning. So I couldn't have the opportunity to take a picture with him. But more than 15, 20 of my teammates, they all had picture with him in different times. But it's really, really good to see him, how he works. It really motivates me. Like if the best player in the world can come and work here, and he started there, then definitely, seeing how he work, it inspires you to work more.
While you're saying
despite what he has achieved.
Let's bring on board.
Despite what he has achieved.
Let's bring on board Melvin Challobah. I wanted to make this a surprise.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring him on board and a surprise to you. Now, is this the Melvin Challobah that you've been talking about, or I brought this up?
Okay.
Is that Melvin? Can you hear us?
Yeah, you see,
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, so we've been gossiping about you. We've been talking about the wonderful things you did and the one that you didn't do well. Melvin, please, you have to go to school and learn how to read in Portuguese so that next time you can read Portuguese contract very well.
I'm already fluent.
It's already difficult, huh?
Okay, so
believe me, Portuguese is difficult.
But I was in Brazil. I was in Brazil for 5 weeks, and in that 5 weeks, I think I was picking up a few Portuguese language. I mean, barely passable language like I want to eat, I want to buy something. I mean, let me tell you what happened to me in Brazil. Okay, I went to Brazil.
Yeah, that is okay. That is okay to learn, but believe me, to speak really fluently Portuguese is difficult.
Yeah,
I agree.
They can speak and you understand, but you to speak, you know, you have to practice, but it's difficult.
Okay, so
to be honest with you,
Melvin, let me come to you now. Alhassan has told me how you work wonders. You were in London. He was playing for Aqua. You got all his tape together, and you made it possible for him to go on loan to Austria without trials. He came in today. The next day, he signed for 1 year, and I'm thinking. I have a lot of young footballers in Nigeria who always want to go pro. Now, Alhassan, this question is to you. Would you advise any young footballer in Nigeria, anybody that is playing in Nigerian league, is here, so say it to his face. He can't beat you. He protects you. Would you advise any young footballer to go under the management of Melvin Challobah?
Yeah, definitely I can advise them because he's not only a manager. I told you, he's not only an agent. I mean, he's manager. He's managing me based on the experience I had, and I'm still having with him. He's my manager, not only on the pitch and the other issues. If I have any problem or something that I want to, maybe I want more clarity, I can go to him and ask him. And if he sees something, before I even ask him, he used to call me and we discuss like a family. So you need someone to back you up, to work with you as.
All right, Melvin. Melvin, there is
not only so.
Okay, Melvin, there is something that every young African struggle with, especially Africans from the West Coast. And by the West Coast, I mean Liberia, Sierra Leone, Mali, Gambia, Senegal, Cote d'Ivoire, Ghana, Nigeria, Benin Republic. You know, all of this, and even Cameroon. Was you can add Cameroon and the rest. They go to Europe, they struggle with the language, the food, the culture, the orientation. You know, because when you're coming from Africa, you are like George Floyd. The knee of the weight of your family and friends is on your neck. The knee of everybody is on your neck, expecting you to go make the money and bring it back. Then when you go to Europe, it's different. It's all man to himself. And you have to learn a whole lot of things very fast because maybe your trial is 3 weeks. Within 3 weeks, if you don't fit in, you're coming back. And then when you come back home, you're seen as a disgrace, a failure. You don't even know how to play football. You went to Europe.
That is the longest trials you can go, 3 weeks. Some can be 10 days. Some can be 1 week.
Good. So, Melvin, what's the advice as somebody who lives in Europe? You have a nephew who plays for a big club like Chelsea. You've seen this thing. You work with one of the biggest sports management brand in the world. What's the name of the management again?
It's Base Soccer, but we're also part of CAA Sports.
Good. So you work with this big management outfit. What are the challenges you've noticed with young Africans coming to Europe, and how do we create an educational system that integrates them into European football without them getting lost?
Yes. Okay. First of all, thank you very much for having me on your show. And Ibrahim, thank you very much for your description of the support I've given you. You know he's my boss at the end of the day. He's the one who pays my
I agree.
my bills now. So I've got to be very careful also what I say. No, on a serious note, you know, the challenge for a young African footballer coming to Europe is no different to the challenge of any African coming to Europe, as a matter of fact. You know, you've got to integrate, you've got to learn the culture, you've got to learn how they speak. There's a lot of challenges, especially nowadays, as you know, with all the problems in the world. There's competition. And then on top of that, as you said, there's the weight of expectations of you coming to Europe, providing for your family, you know, and basically living up to the very high levels of expectation that everybody has, that the moment you've landed, you've become Ronaldo or Messi. Now, the reality is, you know, my focus is more on the management of these young aspiring athletes who at the end of the day are also normal human beings. But with even more pressure. When you come, I always say you have to adapt to the weather, you have to adapt to the competition within the club itself. You don't just come in and go straight in with the starting 11. First, you have to train with the team, you have to get used to their own systems, then you have to train with the second team, the reserves, then you have to train with the first team, then you have to make the team to travel, then you have to be consistent and patient until you finally get your break. When you get your break, you have to be performing. And then, you know, you look at the stories of many, you know, I'll just quote a few. Of course, Victor Osimhen is very, is trending at the moment, but look at his journey. He didn't just suddenly go to Europe and you're successful. Now, the journey that I've been with Muazzam, with Ibrahim, has been one that we're still learning. We're still trying, we're still progressing to put ourselves in a position where Muazzam really has the opportunity to show his talent. And like any club, when you go, there's a structure, there's a politics. You have to go in. As I said, you have to be patient. You have to understand the coaches has his own players. Through your quality and your patience and through God, you have to wait for your own opportunity. So the work actually starts from home. I think with a lot of young African players, as you've seen, they're always very successful, especially Nigeria has a history of being successful in the Olympics. At under 17 level, Ivory Coast, Ghana, all these countries, always Mali now, they always do well, Senegal. But then something happens in the transition. And what actually happens is, again, this element of now going to a new place, you know, you're in Africa, you're the king, you come back from the 17 World Cup, you know, you're the king, and then suddenly you're in Europe and you're last, you're bottom on the list, and you have to now make your way up. So it's all in your mentality. If you arrive and you think because you've done the trial and you've already made it, then you've already failed. I always say you've only made it when you sign your second pro contract. So in other words, the moment you arrive in Europe, actually it gets tougher because the level of competition goes up. And if you don't keep on running and if you take your foot off the gas, the moment you do that, there's the next African players, there's the next European player, South American player who's there, and he's not joking. So all I'm doing, like what I've done with Muazzam, is to just keep reminding him to keep up his discipline. You know, he's a human being at the end of the day. You miss your family, you're alone over there. And these things must be taken into consideration. Players need support. But at the same time, you need a player who's going to listen. You need a player who's disciplined and understands that the hustle and the challenge continues, and you actually have to improve. Now, the reality of the hardship of playing football in Africa, you know, the tackles, the hustle, that must be maintained and added on top on the technical side, especially when you come to Europe, like listening to tactics, understanding that it's about the stats instead of just dribbling. You know, it's slight changes. And somebody like Ibrahim, is a pleasure working with him because he's a scholar. He's listening. He listens to everything you say. We look at the stats of, for example, in Didi, and all these people who play in his position as he's been moved now to playing as a number 6. As we all know, he used to be an attacking player. That's no easy task. And that requires a lot of concentration, watching games, you know, and I make sure I provide all this information to Ibrahim. We discuss it as a team. we look at videos, and then we see how best we can also use that aspect to adapt. So it's a work in progress. We're both working together. It's not just me. It's a combination of me and Muazzam working together. He's now back in the top league in Portugal. We have a great opportunity. But, you know, I'm speaking to him every week. He's already in the gym. You know, he's already getting ready for the season to start. We haven't been in this position in the previous years, but this year, you know, it takes time for the players to adapt. So there also needs to be a certain level of patience from home, from the fans, you know, supporting the player as he goes up and down. And then understand that when they get to a certain stage, then they can evolve. Then you can see the progression of that player. So that's my job as a manager, to just make sure he's okay mentally, you know, psychologically, even spiritually sometimes. You know, we're Africans at the end of the day. So that he can be in a place where he's got peace of mind and he can focus on the big task of breaking into that team and staying there and keep improving, because of course we have our targets much higher. And that's the advice I can give to any young player. Listen, stay focused, make sure you have people around you and you value the right ones, not about your swag and about your Instagram, how you look and all of that stuff. Focus on the numbers, the statistics, and focus in understanding them and how you can apply them.
Okay, but you just mentioned social media, so I wanted to go there before I come to Muazzam, because there was a question I wanted to ask Muazzam, but you touched on it. Muazzam, you went from playing as a number 10, as a creative player, as a guy who helps to create goals. Now you're playing as a number 6. And for those who are watching from Nigeria, number 6 is what we call number 4.
Yeah.
Number 6 is not a central defender. Number 6 is a defensive midfielder. So where you see Olise used to play, or where he plays now, that's a number 6 in Europe. So it's something that started in France, actually. Mm-hmm. So let's make that very clear distinction. Mm-hmm. But then you move from a number 10, a creative player, and a number 8, because sometimes you play as a number 8. When you're in Aqua, you're playing as a number 8 or twin striker with Christian Piagbara. Now you move to number 6 or number 4, as we know it in Nigeria. How easy was it for you to adapt? Because I played football and I was playing as outside right, number 7. And then the coach said I should go and play right full back. And I told him in the dressing room, I am going to be responsible for a lot of goals. And he was like, why? I said, because 1, I don't head. There's something you're going to do. I don't head. 2, I don't slide. And if you want me to play as a right full back, I'm going to meet a player that is very fast and I will be needed to slide. I can't slide. And he said, if I don't want to play it, I'll sit on the bench. And I told him, if you put me on the bench, the management will fire you, because my job is to create goals. So when the coach first, I didn't have a good manager like Melvin. Maybe I would still have been playing football by now. Maybe I'll be retiring now. I didn't have a good manager. It was just all in my head. A worry boy, crazy guy like that. But let me come. How did you adapt to playing in number 6 position? For an attacking player, it's like asking Ozil to go and play 6. How?
Exactly.
How did you cope?
Yeah, it has to be with the way of the how the player plays. Yeah, you know, despite I was playing 10-8, I'm one of the players that worked a lot on the pitch, do the defensive work really well. So when I moved to Austria, I started playing at 8. My first game, I can remember, I played 8-8-8. So there was that problem in the club. A lot of players get injured and surgeries in there and everything. So it was with not to combat someone to play there. So our number 6 then, that's number 4 in Nigeria, played central defender with another central defender. So it's only me that is that aggressive enough to play that position. And it left us with no option. The coach asked me to do that. Can you do that? I told him, yes, I can do that. And I play 6 and I play well. So when I played that game, unfortunately for me, or fortunately for that, the coach of National, the former coach, of national watched. He saw me play at that position when he was looking for, not me, he was looking for another player, and he watched the game. He saw me play at times number 6. Those 3 times are the only games that he watched for us then. So when I came to national, I was number. Then when I came and I said I'm number 8, then he was like, he saw me play 6. Then I told him, yeah, I only played 3 games. And he told me the games. Then I can remember all the games I play 6 that he watched, against Salzburg at home, against St. Pölten away, against Stormgrass away. And he told me these games, and that was the only games he watched, and I played 6. So is someone that played that position in his playing time. He played under Josep Mourinho. He played FC Porto. That's Costina, Mr. Costina.
So
he advised me that he saw that I can be I can make a very good number 6. They were comparing me with Matic and all this. Then I said to myself, if someone that played this position in his playing time throughout his career can see something in me playing this position, why shouldn't I try? Because I don't like it at the beginning, to be honest with you. I'm an attacking player. I score goals. Everyone knows that. And they changed me from offensive-minded. So it was difficult, but I just have to listen. I'm a player that listen. So trying to look through the video clips of some great players that play this position, Sergio Busquets of Barcelona, a lot of good players, to just see and learn, listening to the coach because he played there in his playing days, and still trying to, I can say I really improved a lot. In the position, in the way you tackle, interceptions, defensive responsibilities. So I have to learn all this, when crosses are coming, you have to know where you're going. When your central defenders are out of position, you have to be there for them, when they are in position, you have to give your number 8 and 10 cover behind when you are going this shift and everything. It wasn't easy, but I am improving. I'm still trying to improve more. Like with a boss, Melvin, we used to analyze even my friend Indidi, because I knew he wasn't a 6.
Yeah.
That's number 4 in Nigeria. He wasn't playing that right out the time he was really
there's something I can add. Sorry, Ibrahim, I don't mean to talk you.
Week in week.
Yeah, one thing I want to add is
okay, Melvin,
was when Ibrahim.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
One thing I want to add, of course, when Ibrahim went to Salzburg, he was an attacking player. And then when we moved to Nacional, of course, the coach, Coutinho, used to play in that position, as Ibrahim said. And they immediately said, oh, he's very tall. And of course, now, the game has changed in Europe. And they have particular, how can I say, physiques that they associate with particular positions. So immediately they just canceled out our guy just like that and said, oh, he's too tall, this, that. And they saw him as a number 6. And as Ibrahim said, in the beginning, we were a bit like, why, But the reason why is because Ibrahim Muazzam is very adaptable, very intelligent player, and he controls the game. So, good ball control. He's got good vision, good range of passes, very, very confident on the ball. And what they said is, there are many good number 8s, but there's not many good number 6s.
Absolutely.
Especially with the qualities that he has. So they said in terms of his career, it might be better move for him to move as a number 6. Also looking at the Nigerian team in terms of that position, of course, we all know about Ndidi, number 1, But at the end of the day, a team constitutes maybe of a number 2, a number 3. You know, it's you need backup. And when I listened to what they said and I discussed it with Ibrahim, and trust me, there was resistance because he likes scoring goals.
I would resist too.
Yes, so we would resist. So we looked at it, and then we thought, and you know, we discussed Matic, you know, all these great players in DD, you know, and we were like, okay, you know what? When you go to a football club and they tell you do this, do it. You don't know why they're saying it, and that was Ibrahim's own thinking. He was like, you know what? If this man is saying this thing, there's something in it, so I'm gonna listen. And that move to playing as a number 6, he started the season very well, the first season at Nacional, but then there were 1 or 2 defensive mistakes. Of course, that's not his position. He's an attacking player. But in his defense, in that time, last season to now, he started and played, I think, the first 11 games until he got injured. That says a lot about Ibrahim. And he's learning the position, he's growing in the position. We do a lot of work off, you know, with statistics. We compare, you know, with other great, as you said, Busquets and your different types of midfielders. And he has learned and adapted to the position so well. The only thing I'm saying into him, he needs to take more risk and go forward and show us that he's still Muazzam, the attacking player every now and again. But it says a lot about him.
So
Melvin,
what you're saying is the coach, the spirit of Costina brought him to play in number 6, but you are insisting that the spirit of Muazzam should go forward and go and look for goals. See, that's the difference between me.
Yeah, I have to, you know.
But I think, Muazzam,
you know, it adds value to.
Yeah, Muazzam, this is just me saying this. It will add value to your market. But let's try and understand that your job is to break play. So if you get caught out of position, it's going to affect the team. This season, for instance, one of the reasons why Man City are most likely not going to win the league is because Rodrigo is coming to adapt. He has not adapted to the league. And because the center-backs are not always playing, Fernandinho is always caught between trying to be a number 6 and a number 4 or number 5. And that affects the team a lot. I would say that unless the strategy for your corner kick comes into a way where the ball will come out of the 18 and you will hit a good shot, like Sondoli said, and that means that you have to work on your shots, on your shots and trim. Please, do the job that the coach.
Hey, coach. Muazzam, you're listening to coach.
You know,
I hope you're taking notes.
Do the job that the coach.
You want to take the risk, you have to know the time to take the risk.
You have to know the timing.
Because you cannot jeopardize your position. When you are cut out of position, then it's problem for you and for the team.
Especially nowadays where they use TV to analyze everything. When the game is over, they'll bring you to the screen and show you, Muazzam, this ball was coming.
Everything, every action.
It passed your gate. Where were you at your duty post? Sir, coach, I went to go and look for goal.
Yeah, to be honest with you, Mr. Edafe, that's one of the reasons why I get some couple of assists, some shoots, but not really, you know, going there because not only the coaches, I'm playing with a more experienced player in my team. He played with the Cristiano Ronaldo in national team. He played all the big stuff like FC Porto, Braga. He played a lot and he's really a good player. So he hates to see me in his front at all. That's the captain of the club, called Mikel. He hates to see me in his front. He believed in me so much that if I'm his back, I give him that cover. No matter what, I win the ball for them. I keep the possession. I'm the link between the defense and him, the midfielders, the two of them and everything. When I see some chances to go forward, like in their front and make some tackles, I took some risks and it really paid off. And I tackle in their front, win the ball for us. We cut the opponent out of position. I just passed the ball one time, the next person passed to the striker and we got a goal. But despite we scored the goal, they still don't like it. They said to
Mr.
me,
Gaffey, you
if,
see how they
okay,
convert
you
our
win the
lions?
tackle.
You see how they take our African lions? They want to convert him too much. No, me, I'm going to fight. I'm going to fight. No, no,
So this side,
no.
we score a goal in that game. They still say, I don't have to go there tackle in front of this number 8. I have to stay there. He has to go first. Then I give him the cover because when I go there, I leave a big vacuum in my position. It's a big space that the opponent can still use. So
You know,
no risk,
all I
not much
know
risk.
is that this season they'll have some good centre backs, and our eagle will be able to fly forward and score. That's all I'm saying.
Well, our job is to be here and wish you the very best of support, the best of luck, and hope first. You know, my first prayer as a footballer is, God, give me an injury-free season. Leave the rest for me. I will do it, but just
Yeah,
make sure I don't
that's the
get
most
injured.
important.
Amen. Yes.
So,
Amen.
for as
That's
long
the
as you're
most
this, I know
important.
that because Melvin is on your side, you're going to be disciplined. You're not going to be distracted and all that. But now let's talk about distraction. Muazzam, what do you do when you're not playing football? Let's go outside of football now. What do you do when you're not playing football? How do you live your life?
Like here or when I'm in Africa, in Nigeria?
No, when you're in Portugal. Portugal is a beautiful country. So there are places to go. There is Madeira.
Particularly where I am in Madeira.
Yeah, Madeira
I used to go
island.
I love shopping, you know, to just go buy some little things. Yeah. And it's a beautiful island we're living in. So, and the weather is really good. So we used to go out to see a lot of places. Still, I'm having 2 years here, getting to 2 years, but I still didn't visit all the beautiful place that I need to. We are planning this week. We really plans to go somewhere, but unfortunately for us, almost 4 days now, it's every day raining. So for these 4 days, I only have to go gym, come home, gym, come home.
You know, I was
So
telling
that's
Melvin,
the only thing I'm doing in this time.
I was telling Melvin the other day that if there was no coronavirus, I would have jumped on a plane and come to Portugal to come hang out with you and a few other Nigerians that are playing in Portugal. But then we'll plan it for another time. We'll plan that hangout for another time.
Definitely you have to come. You have to come. But not coming to Portugal. You have to come to Madeira.
The CR7 Museum. I recommend it highly.
I've not been to Madeira. I've been to Portugal before, but I've not been to Madeira. Right now, I want to go to Madeira and maybe just take a few.
Yeah, when you come there, definitely. That's a big motivation for everyone. I think the young players, you have to go to that museum. Everything, whatever Cristiano has achieved is there. The Champions League are there. The Ballon d'Ors are there. That time when I went, I can remember he scored a 50 hat-trick in his career. 50 balls are there with everyone with signing and date and against which club, you know, everything you want to see. He signed jerseys for like when he played a top game, he puts the European Cup that the Portugal, everything about Cristiano, things that you don't even know are there in that museum. You just have to go there.
Muazzam, take my word, I'm coming. If I can't make it, Melvin is going to make it happen for me. I'm coming. Don't worry.
Don't worry.
Definitely, you're welcome. You're always welcome.
All right, it's been very, very nice talking to you, and thank you very much, Melvin, for making this happen. And we do hope that you will find.
Thank you, Mr. Dapo. Keep up the good work, please.
Yeah, thank you. I know that one of the things you look at for young players in Africa, and especially in Nigeria, is players that are cool-headed, like Muazzam. He's very cool-headed. Players that are disciplined, players that listen, and players that are good. He checked all the boxes. And I hope that if there's a young player out there that is watching this video, they'll get themselves ready and be prepared for such a window of opportunity. But as I go, before we go, we still have about 10 minutes before we wrap up. There's this thing I always want to ask. Like, I don't call you agent, but you're a manager. How do you advise players when it comes to money management? Because the biggest problem for an African footballer is what happens after retirement. And I've been talking to quite a lot of people. This afternoon, I was doing an Instagram live with Sheyi Olofinjana of Wolverhampton Wanderers, former Super Eagles players for 10 years, and he played in a lot of clubs in England. And we're just talking about a lot of things and the disconnect after retirement. What stage should a player start planning for retirement? Because no matter how you play, one of the things I've discovered with football is you cannot train your children to university before you retire from football. If you like, produce your children early. Your children cannot graduate from university before you retire from football. So there is a whole lot. So the rest of the time, take it and educate us, Melvin. What stage of a footballer's career should he start planning for retirement, and how does the plan work?
Okay, I mean, this is just my own personal experience, and it applies to anybody, to any African. You know, with our culture, it's very hard, with our culture and the challenges, it's very hard to save. And it's not something that a lot of people focus on. So that habit of saving has to start the minute you get your first paycheck. You know, by default, you know, our culture dictates that you have to send home. You have to send everything home, okay? And of course, you know, myself having family back home in Sierra Leone, the urge, the intention, and what you've been taught is to send everything home. But the reality is, if you send everything home and then you suddenly have an emergency, what can you then send? You don't have anything to send. And ultimately, when you can send, then people might have the wrong idea, think you don't want to send. So I think it's a discussion that needs to be had with the family, you know, mom, dad, girlfriend, and you yourself. What I would advise is whatever money you have, that you keep a certain portion you save, basically. And, you know, there's, you know, when you go, you want to just be shopping. But if you can have the discipline, and again, this education needs to start from home, and everybody understands that, you know, when something goes wrong, you need a little bit for yourself. You need a little bit of backup to be able to send in case there's an emergency. So as an answer to what you're saying, I think it starts from your first paycheck.
Okay, thank you very much.
And again, you've got people, yes, you can go and get some advice, you know, from a bank manager, etc. But actually, it's the dialogue and the understanding with the family at home that matters. That's my opinion.
Okay, Muazzam, I'm going to put you in a very difficult spot before I let you go now. How do you deal with fans who, especially one of the things that coronavirus taught me was that I am responsible for more people than I know. I am responsible for more people than the children that I have, the wife that I have, the workers that I have, the friends that I have. All of a sudden, everybody really does have problems, like they can't feed. How do you deal with that? You know, in this period of, how do I put it now? In this period of coronavirus, a lot is going on. People are crying to you, give us money to eat, give us this, we don't have food, we don't have that. How do you deal with it? I mean, do you ever get to a place where you have to choose between